All right, kiddos, we're going to do a little bit of work with our diagrams. This is a term I want you to get familiar with. It's called baseline diagrams, and this is going to be a more streamlined version of our normal diagrams. So, I want to first show you on a very basic example what I'm talking about, because I think if you see me do it, you might understand a little bit more about our diagrams. And then I want to show you what I mean when I say this baseline diagram. So first, let us take an example sentence and I'll show you how to diagram it. We're going to do something really simple. The dog walked. And you don't say to the park. Alright. Now we're going to label this sentence. Find all our nouns. Dog is a noun. Park is a noun. Which dog? The dog. Which park? The park. And then we have a preposition. We do to preposition and then parentheses, please. And then all we have left is this word walked. And that is our action verb, because every sentence needs to have one of those. So this is how we'll diagram. The first thing we always start with, by the way, is our baseline. Always, always, always. And your baseline, no matter what we add to it, will always have a line that goes through it like that. So, it needs to go all the way through, not just to this line, okay? This is our verb spot, and that's where we're always going to put our verbs. So we put the word walked. Then we ask ourselves who or what walked? Dog. Now, what modifiers do we have? Well, we have the dog. And then we have this, to the park. And we haven't actually learned this yet, but to the park is where they walked, so it's actually going to go under walked. To park the. And that diagram is done. This is always our subject spot. This is always our verb spot. Always, always, always. Anything underneath are modifiers. Now this is what we call a full diagram, because it includes modifiers. Now, when you get your grammar packet from me, I include the sheets where all you have to do is write in the words with the diagrams. Those are full diagrams. Those are going to have everything on them. But what I want you to start doing is on every question that does not have a diagram on that diagram sheet, so for the rest of the questions, you are going to do what I call a baseline diagram. So let's use this same sentence here again. The dog walked. A baseline diagram only includes the baseline. So, basically it means no modifiers. A baseline diagram for this same sentence would be dog and walked, the most important parts of that sentence, the subject and the action verb. Okay? So, for any of the ones that you don't have to do a full diagram for, you must do a baseline diagram for. So, let us take a look at your homework for tonight, which is exercise 2. All right, so exercise 2, you have to do diagrams for 1, 3, 4, and 9, I believe. So we're going to do number 2, because you're going to have to do those on the diagram sheet, so don't worry about that right now. You're going to do that on your own. Let's look at number 1. Let's label, and then we're going to use this little space next to the sentences to do baseline diagrams. We don't use that space to do full diagrams because, well, there isn't enough space. But baselines, there's definitely space. Okay? So number 2, let's label. Let's find nouns. People is a noun. Land is a noun. Texas is a proper noun. All right, which people? These people. Which land? The land. And then And which Texas? There's no which Texas. Now here, this is actually something we call as a verbal. No one's doing the knowing in this sentence. It is describing Texas, describing the land, so this is actually a verbal. And then as is a preposition, parentheses please. The only thing we have left is our action verb. Settled is our action verb. So who or what settled? People settled. It has a subject, it's an action verb. So you don't need to diagram anything else in this sentence, but you do need to draw a baseline, put your subject and verb line that separates those two. Your verb is settled. And who or what settled? People. And now you are done with number 2. We do baseline diagrams because they help us understand the job, such as the subject and the verb, which are the most important parts. If we look at everything else, I want you to take a look and take out all the modifiers. Take that out, take that out, take that out, and that. We're going to talk about what this word land, where that's going to go on the diagram in a couple weeks. But right here, all you need to know is that people settled. That's the most important part, which is why we do our baseline diagrams. So you're going to do baseline diagrams for all the ones that you don't need to do a full diagram for. So you need to draw a picture for at least, even a minor picture for some of them. All right? I'm going to go back to this sheet again to show you. This is a full diagram. This includes modifiers, meaning it has stuff that goes underneath. Baseline diagrams just include the baseline, and that's it, okay? So baseline diagrams is just like the subject and the verb. We're going to add a little bit to those as we go on, but this is going to be a requirement. This is, as I put in the title, required for all sentences. And I have some letters written by the 7th graders this year, so last year's 6th graders, and they said, Miss Doyle, the number one thing that helped me was making us do baseline diagrams. So you might not like it at first, and then you realize it's super, super helpful. So as a reminder, baseline diagrams for all. This is what I'll call a full diagram. And for baselines, you can actually put those right here, okay? I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much, and as always, ask your classmates, ask me if you have any questions.